organizations who worked very diligently and very hard to put this together. Paul put in an awful lot of work, but the No Left Turn for Education, the Center for Garden State Families, and Working Together New Jersey have worked together to make this happen. This is the first of many events. Thank you. Thank you very much. We hope and pray this is the first of many events to come, because we cannot stop, we cannot relent, we must save our children.
Why are we here at yet another rally? There was a nurses rally on Thursday. We've had rallies about the vax mandates. We're here for parental rights. We don't want this to be a one-and-done situation where everyone gets fired up and then goes back into the comfort and false security of their homes. We want to make sure that this is something that's enduring. Back when we started in March 26th, deliberating what is a central issue that we want to focus on, it was very clear that parental rights, the same thing that was a focus in Loudoun County, Virginia, is a focus and obviously a bit of controversy going on around the country, including in Florida. We definitely are here because at 60 years of age, we want to make sure our life counts for something. We want to do more than just contribute to our families, which are important to us, contribute to our faith, contribute to our communities. We want to do something that has lasting meaning and impact, and I think that's why a lot of you are here too.
So we know that we are being told that equity is the big issue in school, but we know that without school choice, we don't have it. We don't have equity for everyone at this present moment. Equity, the quality of being fair and impartial. To summarize, equality means that the law and government treats everyone the same. Do you feel that's true? I don't know. Without school choice, it doesn't seem to be so true. Let me elaborate on this a little bit. Hear me loud and clear when I say the health and sex ed curriculum controversy is the Trojan horse.
How many of you decided to give up your parental rights the day your children registered for kindergarten? Each morning when we send our kids off on the bus, we are not relinquishing our parental rights. My name is Kristen Cobo. I'm a licensed mental health therapist with a specialization in children and families. I'm a New Jersey mom who absolutely refuses to co-parent with the government. I joined the fight for parental rights about 2 years ago after coming to the realization that our children are no longer safe to grow up in a state and country dead set on sexualizing and indoctrinating them. At what point did the government give schools the power to sexualize our children against our will? Librarians across America are compromising our children's healthy development by exposing them to sexually explicit books under the guise of the LGBTQ movement.
I'm Christina Ballestieri. I'm a mom of 3 young boys in Roxbury and a former teacher. And I, like most people, became concerned with the material being taught in schools. And I started seeing reports of really inappropriate books being found in school libraries. I accessed the school database online, which everybody can and should do. And if you don't know how, come find me and I'll help you here. And sure enough, I found not one, but at least 11 incredibly sexually explicit books. So Kristen and I immediately informed our parental rights group because there were parents in there with high school age children. We followed district protocol. We emailed the librarian. We did exactly what we were supposed to do. In fact, I honestly thought the librarian probably didn't know about it. And when I emailed, I was wrong. I asked if she knew the content. Her response was yes, she was aware, and she justified them being in the library by stating that they are reflective of our community. So in our wonderful town of Roxbury, we're apparently reflected by images of butt plugs and strap-ons and words of encouragement to seek sex with random partners on Grindr, and many more pervasively vulgar images and excerpts. Yeah. At this point, we contacted the administration and the Board of Ed, And in September 2022, after emails had been received by all parties, we received photos by an uncomfortable student of a banned books display, front and center in the library, with the very titles that we had emailed about. So fast forward to January, after I had some coaching from the amazing Dan Kleinman of Safe Libraries, I officially challenged genderqueer. I read the book in its entirety. I told them it's not a First Amendment violation to remove pervasively vulgar books from school libraries, as per a Supreme Court case. The district's committee decided to keep it because they claimed it was a memoir. So, on March 6th, Kristen and I took our concerns to the Board of Ed. We provided evidence of professionals admitting that images can be dangerous and inappropriate. We quoted Gays Against Groomers, a member who was almost raped from using Grindr, the app. And after about 3 weeks later, a sheriff's officer showed up at our house and the home of 2 other parents with a lawsuit. The high school librarian, represented by her attorney husband, is suing us for defamation. Do not let this scare you, because it does not scare us. Do not stay quiet because you don't have kids in that school. You have every right and a moral obligation to protect children. And as we often say to each other, if not us, then who?
Well, a while later, in my public high school down the street, the required reading for every sophomore in the high school was a pornographic book. So 400 petition signatures later, several visits to the administrators and the Board of Ed and all this, finally, it was the State Attorney General who said, this is distribution of pornography to minors. It was interesting that by then I was increasingly fighting my battles on my knees in prayer. And after a year and a half of fighting that battle, we got word on the National Day of Prayer that they were pulling it from the curriculum. Praise God. Well, I realized by then that no matter how hard I tried, Amy wasn't going to change New Jersey public schools, and I made a decision. I chose the world of joyful learning instead. So I went back to school. I got my Montessori teaching certificate to teach to 12 years old, and it felt right after all these battles to give children choices in their learning, to guide them in curious exploration, to create a safe, beautiful environment.
And I want to point out, so Kristen and Christina, much like myself, got involved in this battle when they shut us down. We couldn't go to church, our kids couldn't go to school. All of a sudden, we're home trying to work, trying to make sure our kids are getting educated. And guess what? We found out they weren't really learning much. I found Moms for Liberty searching online, trying to find out how did we get here, how do we fix it? Because I don't think taking your kids out of school is easy. That's a very tough decision. Not many of us can do it. And for those of us that actually believe we pay taxes, the schools belong to us. We need to fix the school boards. We need to fix who is making these decisions. In order to do that, I needed to find a group of people that knew how to do it, because I didn't go to board meetings. I took my kids into Catholic schools, not because I was particularly religious. I went to Catholic schools because I found out that my son, as an 8th grader in public school, didn't know how to write in cursive. My son that was in 3rd grade did not know his times tables. So that was an issue. Shame on me as a parent, I promise you. So that's when you get involved. That's when you learn what you need to do.
But I'm also a college instructor. I teach law and philosophy in higher education. And boy, if you want to talk about disillusionment and indoctrination, the moms here just gave you a whole earful, but that's only the half of it. As a project director, an adjunct college professor, and a Christian father of daughters, I know our hearts are all hurting for our children today. We've all moved past tears to righteous anger and determination. Did you know 84% of Americans are concerned about parental rights in a recent poll? This is a winning issue, everybody. We're all concerned about parental rights. It goes to our very hearts and our beings, the love we share in our families. But our children are being used. They're being used in a grand educational social experiment that's governed by the desires and the interests of those in power who profess to care for our children, but we know they don't care about them or us. Their concern revolves around parochial self-interests and their political ambitions. Systematically stripping parents of their rights gives them far more power and influence over our children than they deserve.
He alone who owns the youth gains the future. Who said that? Adolf Hitler said that. Education is a weapon whose effects depend on who holds it in its hand, who wields it, and who it's aimed at. Who said that? Joseph Stalin said that. That is what they are doing to us today. Those in society who are in charge of the schools must never forget that the parents have been appointed by God Himself as the first and principal educators of their children, and that their right is completely inalienable.
Recently, I found myself unexpectedly targeted by a group of individuals from the very institutions designed to protect all of us, and actually institutions I hold near and dear to my heart as a daughter and granddaughter of veterans. Our military, police, and school officials came after me. Now, I could stand up here for 3 hours to tell you my story, and it would blow your mind, and it would sound unbelievable. Look my name up, watch the clips, read the lawsuit. Just read the exhibits. My transgression, I dared to raise my voice against sexually themed posters created by children displayed in my local elementary school. I found them inappropriate. My 7-year-old daughter wanted to know what a polysexual was. In response to posting on Facebook, a Facebook post that actually said all individuals are deserving of love and respect, that this was not a fight against people, but this was about the protection of my children, I was deemed a threat by the U.S. military. I was sent to Homeland Security. I was deemed a threat by my police chief, and now public text messages by the so-called conservative police chief called me sick in the head in a text message using his government device because I dared to speak to protect my children. I was met with the full force of these institutions, weaponized to intimidate me, to silence me, and I believe not just me, but all of you. Every parent, because if you see what happens to me, you'd be scared to speak, and I have to say, unfortunately, it's working. People in my town, friends, conservatives, are scared to speak. They'll privately message me. The GOP will show me messages, we've been supporting you behind the scenes, but they refuse to stand next to me. They refuse to say what happened to me is wrong because they're fearful of what the consequences will be, and that needs to change. All of you need to stand with me.
There are several issues here today that are being addressed, but a common theme: leave our kids alone. We must protect the sovereignty over our parental rights. We will not sit down to make it easy for the powers that be to steamroll us into submission while they orchestrate this playbook and lead us into their new world order. Here in New Jersey, this State House has been a perpetual battleground for so many of us parents not willing to stand by and watch our children's minds, bodies, and our core values be abducted.
I am a New Jersey resident for more than 38 years, a parent of 3 adult children who have gone through the public school system in northern and southern New Jersey. Like many parents, I have put the trust in teachers and school administrators, believing they have taken an oath to represent me, the parent, while my children are under their care, and teach them the highest level possible of academic and civic education. That trust was broken. Ask yourself, why is it? New Jersey taxpayers pay high property taxes primarily for the best education, yet receive very little in return. What percentage of school taxes is allocated to teach a child? When reviewing school budgets, most of the dollars go to an ever-growing administration who is unaccountable to the taxpayers or parents. We are here today to say loud and clear, parents have the sole authority over their children, not government. We are here to say loud and clear, start teaching math, reading, and writing, and stop teaching politics and sex.
For me, it's frustrating to actually come to events like these, to the Board of Ed meetings that we've been to as well. We come with good intentions and insight about how the governing policies are affecting the local communities we're a part of. I've attended a number of these events and have left very frustrated because it seems that our endeavors remain fruitless, as what we continue to advocate for is deemed unworthy of consideration of those appointed by we the people. Instead, we're usually marginalized or censored. I've pulled my children out of school because of the unethical, immoral, and insane sex ed standards that are being taught today that has more to do with ideology and far less to do with academia. Last year, a group of high schoolers approached me asking if I would create a support group for them to help them deal with the issues that they're facing in the public school system. I was horrified to hear of some of the things that they're learning and the experiences that they're having. According to the students that attend this support group, no privilege, equity, tolerance, and all the other words that the members of the Board of Ed like to use exist for students with conservative Christian values. There's a free pass for those of the opposite agenda for the LGBT community when it comes to inappropriate sexual conduct in school, bullying, harassment, and even dress standards. But if you're straight and in particular conservative in your value system that you hold, you're held to a completely different set of standards. I know students who have been sexually harassed and bullied by members of the LGBT community in a number of different high schools now. And when the students were harassed, they went to report it, and they found that their accounts were severely twisted and made them out to be the bad guys. I know parents who are struggling with teenagers because of the lie that they believe that they are something other than their biological makeup and the God-given designs that are upon their lives.
I am a public school educator for the past 23 years. I have seen the pendulum swing, the change of boards, the change of administration, and I am here to tell you that there are like-minded teachers that still exist. We are behind enemy lines right now, and if we leave, let me tell you, I see what's coming in, okay? I see the outsourcing to substitutes, and when I tell you, I worry about taking off because I don't necessarily trust the person who's coming into my classroom. And I am an advocate for homeschooling, parental rights, education. I agree with what's being spoken here today. However, if we leave, then what? We need the parents to have the courage to realize the public school system is going to fail. It is failing. It is gone.
It's because they're coming for our kids, everybody. Those of you that aren't familiar with me, I am Nurse Jen. I've been a nurse for 30 years. Actually, this May is my 30th year becoming a nurse. We're talking about the right to choose what goes into your child. Am I wrong? No, right? You guys have the right to decide what you do with your children and their health. So I'm kind of here today to discuss that a little bit because we've had some interesting information come out of the New Jersey Department of Health. So the New Jersey Department of Health came out with some new proposed changes that they want to follow up on. Some of you are familiar with the ASIP, yes? Do you know what that is? So they're the people that work for the CDC, basically. It's a group of 15 people that decide what shots your kids are going to get. This ASIP group has decided they think it's a good idea if your kids get the COVID shot every year. So they want to so they're proposing some changes to our school mandated schedule.
so much, beautiful moms and dads, grandmas and grandpas, for being here today. I'm Julene Jackson, a national organization, Moms for America, over 500,000 moms strong, where we believe that liberty begins at home. I teach national classes to mamas all around the country weekly in online classes, and we learn about the Constitution, our inalienable rights, principles of liberty, and the miracles and faith stories of our founding nation.
Today, we are here to stand against the political indoctrination of American youth. I graduated from Rutgers University in 2015. I sat in those classrooms where my skin color was the topic, where the skin color of my future children, God willing I have children, was the topic. White people versus people of color. People of color, colored people. I was raised and taught to see people as individuals and not on the color of the skin. Yet I attended a public state university, lowest tuition, went there, listened, and what I heard, I had to recover 2 years after graduating. White people, cave-dwelling Neanderthals. White people, inherently aggressive invaders. White people, blue-eyed devils. White people, on and on. The critical race theory that's pushed by cultural Marxists inside our American universities is against white people. From a top high of higher education, this cultural Marxist ideology has seeped down into our high school curriculums, even finding its way into early education. Kindergarten through 12th grade educations in America have allowed special interests and lobby groups to prey upon the mental health and the development of our young children.